All right, welcome to Module 6, where our goal is to use strategies such as compatible numbers and estimating to find quotients. You are going to be practicing this skill using the math book on pages 94 to 95. There's lots and lots of problems on there you can use to practice. I would even suggest looking at the word problems and trying to write your own problems because that's a really important life skill to have. And then also you can look at the 4-2 reteaching or practice side for some problems. So first of all, I want to remind you about these rounding, estimating, and compatible numbers, these words. We've heard them before, but it doesn't hurt to have a review. So rounding is rounding a number to the nearest, and in our case here with division, we're going to round to the nearest 10 or the nearest 100. Does not always have to be to the nearest 100 or always have to be the nearest 10. It's going to be whichever one makes the most sense with the compatible numbers, and we'll talk about that in a second. Estimation, you have to round first, then you solve it. I've noticed some people with multiplication would solve first and then round the number. Guess what? You just did so much more work than you needed to do. You have to round first and then solve the problem. And your number should come out a nice round number then, if you've estimated. Compatible numbers are numbers that go well together. So when you're rounding, you'll want to round to numbers that go well together. Like, I know that 8 and 4 go well together because they're compatible numbers. I know that 9 and 4 don't go well together because when you divide 9 by 4, you're not going to get a nice round number. So I'll show you an example of how to do that. Let me get my sheet over here. We're going to start with 792 divided by 4. Okay, so in order to find an estimate of 792 divided by 4, the first step is we have to round the numbers, okay? And when we round, we want to make sure we round with compatible numbers, numbers that are going to go well together. I'm noticing 792 is kind of close to 800. 8 and 4 go really well together, so I'm going to go ahead and use 800 as the rounded number for 792. So I'm going to round to 800 divided by 4. Now, remember how we just did dividing with multiples of 10 and 100? Well, guess what? This is a multiple of 100. So I can ignore the zeros for right now. 8 divided by 4, well, that's going to be 2, because 4 times 2 equals 8. And then I ignored 2 zeros, and there's none over here, so I'm going to go ahead and have to add those 2 zeros back on. And 4 times 200, I can check my answer for reasonableness here. I did that backwards. 200 times 4, because you want this one number on bottom. 0, 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 2 is 8. Oh, guess what? I got 800. So 800 divided by 4 is 200. That would be an estimate. So my actual estimate would be 200. 792 divided by 4 is about 200. Let's do another example. This one's going to be a little bit harder. That's okay. 317 divided by 7 equals what? Now, this is really close to 300, but I'm thinking 330, like they just don't, I don't think they go well with 7. I can't think of a good fact that goes well with 7. But I do know 35 and 7 go well together. So we're going to go ahead and round this to 350. See, this is going to be really important that you know your multiplication facts for this. You're going to have to really think about them and find those compatible numbers to make it easier. So 35, we can ignore this 0 for now. 35 divided by 7 is 5. I know that because 7 times 5 is 35. And I ignored a 0, so now I have to add one back on. And so 50 times 7 equals 350. That, and then 50 right here. 317 divided by 7 is about 50. That's my estimation. I think that's all you need to know for rounding, estimation, and compatible numbers.